After spending the holidays with my family over in Florida, we caught the cheapest flight we could find to come back, checked into a hostel, and then stayed the night in New Orleans. Went the next day to Bicycle Michael's, a full-service shop, and he sold me 2 of his old rentals. After giving them a full tune-up, we took them out on a test ride and made sure they fit, the brakes worked, and the seats were comfortable. I have never taken a long-distance bike trip, so all the equipment was brand new to me. Rear rack, panniers, helmet, water bottle rack, bungees, front light, rear light, and puncture-proof tires. All of it new to me.
Getting our bikes kitted out, getting some new drink bottle holders put on them, and some new tires, and getting them sorted so that we can be ready to go tomorrow.
Incredibly, the transaction got approved and all that stuff was now mine. Because of how involved it was to pack and everything, we ended up staying all the way till the evening and booking a second night in the hostel. But tonight was a very special night in New Orleans, January 6th, the birthday of St. Joan of Arc. Happy 614 years, Joan. Plenty of people from the city came out for it. This is the unofficial start of Mardi Gras. Before this day, you can't eat king's cake or it'll bring you bad luck. But from now until Mardi Gras, which is February 17th, you can eat king's cake. But not only the cake, there are a million traditions in New Orleans surrounding their biggest holiday, Mardi Gras. And it's coming up. This is the start of the season, and things start getting really festive between now and then. Unfortunately, though, we were leaving. We wouldn't be around for the big festivities to follow. We'd be on the road, east, on US 90, bound for Florida. You look cute in your little helmet, Dottie.
Thank you.
There's Dottie back there. My butt hurts. It's a good first day of going on the bike, though. Good conditions. We're not gonna make much distance, but we knew that. Gonna kind of ease into it because got a long ways to go and there's really no rush. Let's go see what we're getting ourselves into down here. Google Maps says that the stretch of road between the Old Pearl River and the Pearl River, which is 5 bridges on US 90, was closed. But we figured that was close to car traffic and we'd be able to do it on a bike. And then looks like wide open road on the other side. Went around the road closed barrier, over the little pile of dirt, carried my bike over the Jersey barrier, then helped Dottie with hers. And then we were on open road on the other side. I didn't film much of it because I was still getting used to the bike and it was really hectic to get out of the city of New Orleans. But we had already experienced a lot of sidewalks ending and trash on the side of the road. And I was really getting into the swing of things with the bicycle, trying to keep all my attention on what I was doing and who was about to open their car door, swerve, turn, cut us off, whatever. And all that riding from New Orleans to these bridges was all we had to do in Louisiana. And it took us less than a day. Beyond the Pearl River at the east end of this closure, we'd be in the state of Mississippi. Here's the last of it. No problem getting through it all. Just met somebody at a gas station and he said there's some land if we backtrack, so we're backtracking and then we can camp on it. That's an omelet pizza with eggs and sausage and stuff on it, cheese. Good morning, Dottie.
Good morning.
Right as we were finishing our pizza, we saw this guy ride by with a bike full of stuff. And I said, we gotta go catch this guy and see what he's up to. Turns out he's on a trip across the entire country, all the way from Sacramento, California on a bike, down to Melbourne, Florida. Believe it or not, even in all that time on a bicycle, we were the first 2 that he had seen also touring on a bicycle. This guy, and I'm not kidding about this, had so much energy, he must eat an extra 4 or 5 meals per day just to have the calories it takes for him to smile and talk. I mean, good grief, this guy was overflowing with energy.
Because I'm like, I do not want to freaking wrestle with this seat the whole way. It's going to take all the jam out of my donut, you know?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be about the tour, not this, but, you know?
We rode with him for a while because his enthusiasm was infectious. Honestly, he made the miles go by. We talked the whole time and he caught us up on some advice and stories he had from the road. As he faded away, we came up on the Bay St. Louis Bridge, crossing into the richer area of Mississippi.
Go back to Mississippi, that's where my baby is.
Right along the Gulf, we We definitely picked the right route.
Where my baby is. I'm going back to Mississippi. I'm gonna have to work out in the cornfield. I'm going back to Mississippi. That's where my baby is. Oh yeah. Yes, I'm going back to Mississippi. That's where my baby is.
How do you like the area, Dottie?
It's nice. We're next to the sand, next to the beach. It's good. Nice pathway.
I was right about Leo. This man does eat. A trucker had stopped and given him some money, which he said he didn't need, and he just wanted to pay it forward. So he got us a motel room. And then he sent us this video from his motel room. Now I know where all the energy comes from.
My lovely friends, is a Trans-American Southern Tier dinner. That's what it looks like. Yep. That's it. No kidding.
It wasn't the break of dawn, but we were out on Highway 90 pretty early and heading east. The only major turn in the day would be south on Alabama Highway 188 to avoid the city of Mobile and go south of Mobile Bay, but we weren't there yet. But we passed the last few dozen miles in Mississippi without great event. There was a storm on the radar behind us, and we were taking great pains to avoid it. And it was pretty scenic, by the way, too. Plus, we had a few miles overlapping with Leo, but by this point, he's in great shape and moves a lot faster than us, so he sped on out ahead when we went over the next bridge. At an unceremonious curve in the road, there was a green sign covered in stickers saying we'd covered our last mile in Mississippi. Dottie, we made it to Alabama! The highway had veered quite a ways from the Gulf, going towards Mobile at the top of Mobile Bay. We'd be avoiding the city by taking the ferry across Mobile Bay and turned right on Alabama Highway 188 to get to that ferry and return to the Gulf. Remaining that close to the water had a few benefits and its own unique scenery, like the fishing villages that we passed through, the many gnats that gather inside of my tent and literally try to eat me the second I step out of it. But the terrain down here, this far south on the coastal plain, is as mild as it can possibly get. Lacking a headwind, there's basically no resistance to just pedaling along and clicking the miles past. Except that is when we come over a bridge over one of these massive bays, like we did to get to Dotti and Island. Down here we had both wind and the little bit of rise on the bridge working against us. It doesn't look like much, and it really isn't. The only problem was that neither of us are conditioned for this kind of thing, so any little rise means that we're shifting all the way down into the easy gears and then just chugging up the hill. And then enjoying the barely deserved downhill that we get after crossing the top of the bridge. Dauphin Island, although it's spelled Dauphin Island, was something of a highlight for me, especially the ferry ride across Mobile Bay, where we get to see some of the sea life down there in the Gulf, the offshore drilling rig operations, and just another side of this state that we weren't seeing from land. Who doesn't like a ride on a boat, right? And I haven't been on a ferry, that is, since way back in Puget Sound, when I took the ferry from Port Townsend across. We passed through Fort Morgan, Alabama, a community of mostly beachside rental homes, and then up to Gulf Shores, which is exactly what it sounds like, the shore of the Gulf. I love how the laziness of the way they name places down here matches the laziness of the folks who live on the beach, which in this case is mostly people who snowbird down from the Midwest or just come down for a brief vacation. Found a nice little patch of woods towards the middle of town that they haven't gotten around to developing yet. There's a fence over there. I think it's the power company on the other side, but this side's pretty much wide open. It's starting to rain, but we just got our tent set up back there, and I think we're gonna go head to town to get some food and things.
I can stand a better
Pensacola Beach and all through this area along Florida's Gulf Coast is this white sand that's all tiny little pieces of quartz that came down from the Appalachian Mountains and got deposited here to make this brilliant white layer on top of the beaches. It also makes the water of the Gulf exceptionally clear and the beaches sparkle. It doesn't heat up too bad in the summer, but we weren't worried about that. This day was freezing, and to us, it looked more like snow than sand.
Down the road, feeling bad, boys, I'm feeling low.
The day got away from us, and we got to this place at sunset. It's a visitor center, but it's really nice, and they've got cameras up. So I called the sheriff's department and said, like, hey, we're kind of stuck for the night at this property, such and such. Would you mind if we stayed here? And she's like, I'll have someone give you a call. And like 1 minute later, the sheriff's deputy showed up, and he was like, well, I can't tell you that you can stay here. You're really not supposed to be here after dark. And he wasn't like, oh, I don't care. So I'm like, all right, we should find another spot. And I went around and asked, and the gas station across the way, the lady was like, she didn't care. So we're gonna go see if we can make that our home for the night. The gas station now, you're listening to the compressor for the air conditioning, and we got some Italian sausage from the gas station, but brought along salad from the grocery store, chicken Caesar salad, and it's good to be eaten fresh instead of on the river where we were eating canned food instead of green food. Here's we're about to leave. There it is again. There's those engines that are running all night, the compressors or whatever they are. Hey, Dottie.
Hi.
Even though we had to fight a pretty cold morning on this day, the scenery is really unbeatable. It doesn't get old looking at all these mounds and dunes of white sand along the Gulf Coast. I really can't complain about the ease of bike travel either. I know we're not doing big days, nothing like the 100+ miles that other people do on these long touring trips. But still, I have to restrain myself from spending money at delis and gas stations and restaurants because they're all over the place. I mean, there's opportunities everywhere to stop and get fresh food, hot coffee, a bed for the night, whatever you want. Very much different than what I was used to back on the trail and on the river. So fresh food isn't a concern. Wildlife isn't a concern, not even bugs. It's too cold for them to come out this time of year. Plus, the alligators aren't particularly active until it gets warmer out. Road conditions are more of a concern, like traffic, if there's a bike lane, and then finding a place to camp at the end of the night. I've been relying on power lines and riversides and places that are kind of out of the way because we don't have the benefit of wilderness and islands like I did on the river. We're making it work though, even with the colder temperatures, the inconvenient road construction, and the many gas stations and restaurants that are just begging for me to come in. And Waffle House, a pillar of the southern community, has been winning.
I thought Florida was meant to be warm.
But cold temperatures or not, we could have the beach all to ourselves because no one else is here taking a vacation in this cold front. But in other news, I passed into my 4th and final time zone on this trip across the country from Washington to Florida. I'm finally here. Pacific, Mountain, Central, and now my 4th and final time zone, the Eastern time zone, way up here in the Panhandle of Florida. Another Wednesday night on the road. County jail is across the street, and then where we're standing right now used to be a railroad. There's all the railroad ties they chucked out, and we're just kind of camped on the old railroad land. No trains coming through though. You can hear the road behind. Kind of a nice spot over by Port St. Joe. It'll do.
Well, the whiskey never holds you like a good girl can. When the nights get long, it can be your only friend. I'm traveling down the road, feeling bad, boys, I'm feeling low.
When I brush my hair, it goes from this to this. Like, is it even worth it?